Alright, what's going on today, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite cyclist YouTube channel. This week, we're talking about one of the interesting products I brought back with me from CO2 Classic 2023. But before we get into today's video, if you are new to my channel, make sure you head down below, hit that subscribe button for me. If you already are subscribed, make sure that little bell icon next to that is checked off. That way you get notified every time I upload. That we do is this awesome cycling content we got on this channel. So recently we went to CO2 Classic 2023 and we checked out a bunch of products. And I came home with some that I thought were very interesting and I wanted to share with you guys and see what your guys' thoughts were on them. So the one we're talking about today is from a company called Altangle. Some of you guys may have seen them. They have their ads on Facebook. They're the ones that have the rack that can pretty much clamp on anywhere, clamp onto any object, and then it creates a bike rack out of essentially just a bar. Pretty neat design. Works cool. So they also have this. This is the Altangle tire lever. You're like, it's kind of small for a tire lever. I mean, look at that thing. It's like barely the size of my palm of my hand. However, they say this is the tire lever for CO2. So I kind of went, what the heck does that mean? So let's go ahead, let's open this up. Let's take a look at them here. So we open these guys up. Essentially what you get is two of these guys right here. I'm gonna drop the box on the ground. So you get two of these guys right here. That's it. You're like, what? How are you going to use that as a tire lever, right? That's so small. You're not going to get a tire off with those. Then you look on the bottom of them. These have a threaded bottom on here, and that is made to screw onto a CO2 cartridge to give you the leverage to use them as a tire lever. I kind of went, okay, that's interesting. You know, does it do anything else? No, that's pretty much all it does. It screws on top of your CO2 and lets you use it as a tire lever. So it's kind of a nice thing for those looking to save space. If you're looking to use CO2 already, you can throw one of these on the top of your CO2 and just run that, and you don't have to worry about carrying a separate set of tire levers. So I was like, okay, it's an interesting idea. So I took a look at my CO2 cartridges and the guys over at Leland Gas Technologies, and so I went, okay, let's see what works. See if these will actually thread on, see what it's kind of like. So we took our standard one here. This is a 16 gram, kind of what you'd carry if you're on a road bike or gravel bike. Pretty much all you're gonna need. Pretty much the smallest one you're gonna really want to use. So screwed the guy on there. And I was like, okay, it's not bad. You know, realistically, the CO2 cartridge is about the same width as the actual tire lever part here. Screws on all the threads on the top, so that unscrews all the way. So I mean, it's maybe a half inch maybe of a thread engagement on here. So I went, okay, this is interesting. So again, it just screws on. It just screws on nice and smooth. There's no resistance at all, so kind of nice. Then I went, okay, what about mountain bike guys? What about us? So obviously this barely will fill your tire up on a mountain bike on a 29er. So I went and took a look at the 25 gram cartridge here. So obviously quite a bit bigger. Same thread pitch. Should work the same, right? So went ahead and got this guy and screwed it on. Same thing, nice and smooth. And it'll bottom out there. And there's the bigger guy right there. So this one's a little bit more awkward because it's the CO2 is actually bigger than the diameter of our tire lever, but it's not horrible. It's not a horrible design. Obviously it's a little bit bigger. I mean, you're adding probably an inch on the end of your CO2, so that's kind of a downfall if you have if you're trying to keep everything tight in your saddlebag or whatever you're using. Might not fit with this on there if your CO2 is already tight, but it's not a bad design. Not bad. Definitely something I've never seen before. So I went, okay, obviously they fit on the CO2 cartridges. Now, do they actually work at getting the tire off? Is this actually gonna work at all, or is something gonna break? Is pretty much my thing. So I got a tire here. This is the old tire off. This is the old tire and wheel off my Trek 3700. This is essentially my road setup for that bike. So it's got a Continental City contact on here. Good old Vuelta, I don't know what this is. This is the Vuelta Zero Light wheel on here. If I remember right, it was a pretty tight fit. It's been a long time since I've taken this off, but if I remember right, it's a pretty tight fit to get on and off. So we're gonna try both of these guys out and see if we can get it on and off the wheel without any issues. Now this has a tube in here, so it's gonna be a little tougher. So it's gonna be a little tougher. It's got a tube. I think it has a tire liner in there. So we're gonna take it off. See if these guys will actually work to get a tire off, or something's gonna break. Is kind of the deal here. Now they do have a whole little slip inside the box with disclaimers that make sure that there's no cracks or the CO2 is not damaged or anything like that. Don't use it. Yada yada yada. Don't use anything to overexpand the leverage. Don't do any of that. So there's lots of disclaimers to this, but we're just gonna use them as they are and see if they actually work. So I'll bring you down here. Let's get some air out of this tire. We'll try and pop it out and see if they'll actually take the tire off. Alright, so the CO2s we're using, of course, brand new, so I shouldn't have to worry about them being cracked or anything like that. I kind of checked them over anyways, just to make sure. But essentially, it's going to use it like a tire lever, so I'm going to kind of pop it under the bead here. So you just, oh, almost. Alright, come on. There it goes. Okay. Oh, it's not very slippery. Like a tire lever, like I would want a tire lever to be. Huh. It's also the sketchiest thing ever. Oh, okay, we're going. We're moving. Alright. I'm not liking this so far. Let me get my Pedro's, the one I use all the time. So here's my Pedro's tire lever that I use all the time. It has a much better hook to it. Let's see if this can get this. Let's see if this can get this tire off. If this can't get the tire off, then okay. That's not the little Altangle's fault, but okay. So I got the bead off with the Pedro's. I can say this thing is definitely stuck on there pretty good. So now that I've gotten it off, I know that it can be taken off. I'm gonna give it one more shot. So we're gonna stick our tire bead back in. Okay, so here's what I'm running into. The hook's not very good on the Altangles. It just doesn't like to hook on the tire at all, which sucks. So it doesn't hook very well, and then it doesn't slide. Like, that's with all my force, and it's not sliding. It just pops off because there's no hook on this. Versus if I get my Pedro's, which is your standard, well-accepted version of a tire lever that everybody uses, this guy, once you get it hooked, it's hooked, it's not coming off, and I can apply pressure to it, and it will actually slide down the tire. And I will say that, I mean, this tire is definitely tight. For sure it's tight. But there we go. That's off. Now I'm curious, so if we get this guy now, it still doesn't slide very well. If you need a tire lever, it's because your tire is on tight. Which, to be fair, most tires are going to be tight nowadays because they're tubeless and made to seal, like, completely. So it's going to be a tight seal. Tighter than this, honestly. These weren't that bad. The Pedro's took care of it, no problem. This guy scares me. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this video on a pause for a second here, because these aren't working very well. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I got bad ones or something like that. So I'm gonna reach out to Altangle, and I'm also gonna reach out to my guys at Leland Gas Technologies, the guys who make all my CO2 cartridges, and honestly make a lot of CO2 cartridges out there. I wanna reach out to them and see if this is actually something safe, and whether they would recommend it, or whether they're like, no, don't do that. This is something I wanna check out. Someone like me, I've had tire levers break before, and if a plastic thing breaks, it breaks, whatever, you know, no big deal. If this was to break, that's a big deal. You're gonna have CO2 blasted right in your face. So, I'm not sure. And I'm gonna reach out to Leland and see, hey, is this even a good idea in the first place? So, for you, it's gonna be like a couple seconds. For me, it's gonna be a little bit. It's the weekend right now, so I'm gonna email them here, see what they say. See if they think this is actually a good idea, and I'll be right back with you guys. Alright, so I reached out to my guys at Leland Gas, the guys, of course, who make all my CO2 cartridges I have, and this is what they had to say. They said that a CO2 cartridge is made out of a single disc of steel. I didn't know that. So this is just a single disc of steel that's pretty much curved in this way, and that's where the strength comes from, pretty much these curves in the actual CO2 cartridge. So pretty cool. Didn't know that's because of that. The CO2 cartridge is very strong, so you don't really have to worry about that. The only thing that he had to say was because of the way this attaches right here, it's pretty much comes down to the threads, what it comes down to. And the threads on the CO2 necessarily aren't the problem. It's going to be the threads inside of the lever here. See, so it's going to be the threads inside this lever and how well those are attached to this. That's really what's going to be the problem, because those could potentially pull out because they're weaker than a CO2 cartridge. So that's the only thing he said. So it is safe to use. You don't have to worry about your CO2 cartridge blowing up your face as long as your CO2 cartridge is in good shape. So that was a good thing for me to find out that yes, you can use a CO2 cartridge as leverage, and a CO2 cartridge is actually a very strong thing, which you know, I knew it was strong, but very strong because of its design. Kind of learned a little bit about CO2 cartridges. Now, would I recommend this? No, I do not recommend this. So since that previous segment was filmed, I've tried to use this on multiple different tires other than just that tire I tried there. I tried it on my Superfly tires, which are tubeless tires. Tried it on the Poseidon Redwood, which has tubeless tires. I've tried it on my road bike, which is actually just a standard tube tire, but it's a 700C on a pretty tight fitting rim. And really it doesn't work on any of those. And that's where I find the problem in, is the people that this would be marketed towards, or I feel like would be interested in this, have those type of tires that are tight fits, and this doesn't work for those tight tires. The only thing I found this to actually be useful for is tires like on my wife's mountain bike. That's from the 90s, so it doesn't have a very good hook on the rim, and the tire is very loose, and so the tire and rim come apart very easily, and you don't really even need this, honestly, to get that tire off. So it's a cool little gadget. For me personally, the people I know that would be interested in something like this would have no use for it because it wouldn't work for them. So, I don't know. It didn't work for me. I can't say I'd recommend this. Just buy yourself a standard set of tire levers, set of Pedro's tire levers. Those are kind of your industry standard that are really good and they work. So, get a set of those, throw them in your pack. They really don't take up that much room, and you won't have to worry about it. Those ones I've never really had a big failure with those, and they work reliably every time with every tire I've had to take off. So, kind of a bummer of a review, honestly. I was hoping these would work better than they do. Like I said, I just throw them in my wife's bag now, so she has tire levers with the CO2 cartridges, so she can inflate her tire if she needs to. But, you know, realistically, for my type of riding and every bike I own, just doesn't work for me. So hopefully you guys learned something from the review. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Appreciate the support. Any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Love chatting with you guys. Love answering questions you guys have. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching today.